great sights around the SCG. And let me tell you, it's bursting at the seams. People still wandering, not many seats available. Standing up, stretching. Oh, the drinks break is almost complete, but a real buzz. There's an energy here at the moment that's hard to describe. Of emotion, I suppose that you can understand that, given the three amazing cricketers we are farewelling.
Yeah, I reckon that part of it's because people saw the celebrations at the Oval in England. Now, Australia have held the Ashes for so long that although the celebrations here when Australia have won in the last 20 years or so have been excitable and happy, they probably haven't been quite as triumphant. And this time, getting those Ashes back and being able to show them off to their own people in front of a crowd at this fantastic old cricket ground is probably even more special and will make for a bigger party. Here's McGrath to Anderson. I would reckon that everybody in the ground would hope to have as much fun as everybody did at the Oval just 16 months ago.
It is a wonderful crowd today. The reminder is of last day at the Oval when it was jam-packed, not a seat left, but also Edgbaston, which was a most unusual thing on the final day. The Australians had won at Lord's. We go to Edgbaston, and on the last day there's only 2 wickets to fall. An hour before the game, every person was sitting there in the seat, and they closed the gates. And that was only for 2 wickets. And then Kastrovic, Warne and Lee carried it on, and all but made it. So it was searing excitement all the way through.
And then, as if to underline that, we went to Old Trafford, and we got to the last day, and there were 20,000 people were kept out of the ground. That was also jammed to the rafters. 10,000 of them were even stopped from getting on the trains and trams that were leaving Manchester to get out to Old Trafford, leaving the city. The police said there's just no point in you people travelling, so they were turned back. The 10,000 that were at the ground couldn't get in, and any available tickets were snapped up at something like 7 in the morning.
It's funny the memories we have of that series, and that's what I was going to mention, the Old Trafford that final day.
We couldn't park.
Well, remember we had the camera up in the blimp, you know, our coverage, and you look down at all the people, the hordes of people being turned away, and it was something that hadn't been seen at that ground for probably 30 or 40 years. It was extraordinary stuff.
Well, we couldn't get there, could we? We had to dump the car about 3/4 of a mile down the road and wind our way through the crowd. We'd never have made it in time for shenanigans before the start of play. Good stuff.
And if we wanted a gripping climax to follow all that, with people locked out of the ground, you had McGrath and Lee batting for 24 balls to gain a draw. And Flintoff bowled, and he beat Lee with 5 of the first 6 balls he bowled at him, outside off stump. And then they made it.
Now then, Michael Hussey takes the catch. Glen McGrath takes the final wicket with his final ball in Test match cricket. Just couldn't be scripted better for him. Warne had all the glory in Melbourne, and now McGrath can have it at the Sydney Cricket Ground. They come together. So do the families. The great team will leave the field of play, led by a remarkable cricketer, favourite son of this place. Those are the opening batsmen going to get their gear on, Langer and Hayden. These are the men who have done the job on England, who have been bowled out for 147.